fishing news is sponsored by these fine partners.
It's August 25th, 2022, our weekly video fishing forecast for the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. It is our final video fishing forecast for the month of August here in 2022. Where did the time go? I'm Jim Hutchinson, and the big news this week is that the Inshore fluke bite has finally turned on at the Jersey Shore, with waters beginning to normalize. That being that the surface water temperatures and the bottom temperatures are starting to come together in similarity. We've had this fluctuation where it's sometimes 10, 15, 20 degree temperature break from the surface to the bottom. So now that the temperature range from surface to seafloor is becoming a little bit nicer, and you're marking with your fish finder the surface temperature, you can be relatively certain you've got similar bottom temperatures, and that is turning those slack-jawed, lock-jawed fluke on. Finally, I think they've been sitting there for quite a while, but they're just not eating like they have. So things are starting to really kick into gear here at the Jersey Shore and Delaware as well, and just in time for Labor Day weekend, which of course is next weekend. Now, once again, our big fish honors for the weekend, for this past weekend, they come out of Belmar, as another flukosaurus was reported on the big Mohawk. Rob Falkenstein of Pemberton was on board the Mohawk on Saturday, and in one amazing drift brought a 13-pound, 12-ounce doormat fluke aboard. Congratulations, Rob. That is a heck of a fish. 2 13-pounders in consecutive weeks. I don't know, maybe the Shark River boats are dialed in on that Monmouth County sticky stuff, but it might be worth a call this week if you're looking to achieve legend status and get on that personal best doormat, eclipsing the 10-pound mark. Of course, legendary is probably the best way to describe the payouts in the annual Flounder Pounder fluke tournament. Flounder, if you're in Delaware, but the Flounder Pounder was held over this weekend. Congrats to the New Jersey-based crew of Bankers Hours for taking top prize of $100,000 for a 9.12 pound summer flounder. Even second place payout was impressive, as Scott Wheeler and the Big Bone team out of Shawcrest Marina in South Jersey, they nabbed $50,000 for their 8.3 pound tournament fish. Congratulations to all. One participant in the Delaware Flounder Pounder who may not have finished near the top in money, well, he sure came out of that contest with a great story to tell. Eamon Carey let me know that he was reeling his chicken rig up fast to avoid a nasty part of the jackpot wreck when this 27.5 pound tuna whacked his 6-inch white gulp grub. Let Irish tell part of that story.
So I'm in the Flounder Pounder August 22, and I'm bringing my bait up, and I got hit, and I thought, oh, good, that's a hell of a flounder, and then it kept taking line. And I just got my Nantucket rig that the boys from New York told me to use for flounder, and I caught this baby. And, it's
unfreaking real.
And it's a Nantucket rig with 2 6-inch super glow white, and this is amazing. Thank you.
It's kind of funny. Usually, when I go fluke fishing and come back with fresh tuna, my wife knows that I got skunked and stopped at the fish market on the way home. Like I said, bottom temps throughout the range, New Jersey, Delaware, they're starting to get a little bit more hospitable for flounder pounding or fluke hunting. Steve Granieri and I exchanged emails a couple of weeks ago about that cold water on the bottom, and he said this week that when that he was out over the weekend and finally found quality fish on wrecks from 115 to 125 feet deep over the weekend. Noted as well that his buddies were also catching fish at the reef sites of Cape May, that being the Cape May and Wildwood reef sites. I also heard from Rick Schuyler, who took his grandson out for his first ever fluke trip over the weekend on LBI, caught a pair of flatties. The grandson did 18 and 18.5 inches, out fishing Grandpa Rick en route to the family limit of those 2 overs using 5-inch nuclear chicken gulp. Gotta love it. You know, we do have, looking ahead towards this weekend, we do have more of those southwest winds in the no weather forecast in the weekend ahead, but pretty light winds overall. We've been talking about that offshore, that southwest, creating the upwelling that is making the water temperature so cold on the bottom. But it looks like the winds are not that stiff. So the fluke hunts at the wrecks and reefs should be pretty successful this weekend. As for the offshore forecast, same thing, looking pretty good for those pressing east towards the canyons in search of tuna. Jim Peters, he had a great report from the Hudson Canyon Friday into Saturday. They went 1 for 3 while drifting for swordfish, then 8 for 12 on yellowfin tuna in the 70-pound class. Excellent day. Now, in our weekly reports posted on Monday, a lot of folks we heard from the Central and North Jersey area were psyched about a tremendous bite offshore at the Toms Canyon as well. So you can go check that out in Tom P's report at thefisherman.com. Just go up to the fishing report section, look for offshore, but the Toms Canyon starting to heat up as well. But apparently, it would appear you don't have to press too far from shore to get in on those pelagics. I heard from Chris Capuano, who was fishing with his father John this past Friday. Barnegat Ridge caught 10-pound mahi and a 20-pound wahoo, broke off 3 other fish as well. He said the water looked great, and all fish were caught with islanders dressed in ballyhoo. John Howell said Camille Caruso surprised everyone by catching a mahi while fishing in the Forked River Tuna Club's fluke tournament this past weekend. Mahi, this one was caught just 5 miles out of Barnegat Inlet, within sight of Old Barney itself, on a bucktail rig. I think I'll have to use that one for a future cover. That is a cool shot. Great dolphin. Dennis Huber had a good report on bonita and Spanish mackerel, but not just that. That's what he was looking for. He got a tip about those speedsters out at the Klondike last Thursday. So he and his son Tommy put a couple of spoons on planers, put a couple of side trackers out, and started to catch the little bonita. And then they started getting a little bit bigger. And after one rather surprising, confusing run that was just going crazy, they ultimately bent the Clark spoon hook, but put a gaff in a legal-sized cobia, a nice cobia. That was a keeper-sized cobia. And then as they were still playing around 6 miles off the beach, they ended up with a 48-inch bluefin on a black-purple side tracker. So yeah, you're talking 6, 10, 12 miles out, you can start getting those speedsters. And this is the time of year when it's so awesome to find those fish. Sometimes you'll find the king mackerel as well, torpedoing out of the water. I'm hoping we'll find some bonita and Spanish mackerel in tight along the beaches in just a matter of days as well. Glenn Ellers, well, he and his 13-year-old son Benjamin hit Little Italy on Friday. Young Ben landed a 100-pound wahoo, which was weighed in at Brielle Yacht Club. Finally, Walt Fisher up in North Jersey let me know his crew was fishing in 50 feet of water last week out of Ambrose Ridge. They were running out of Staten Island on the hunt for bluefin. Ended up gut hooking this 72-inch, 80-pound white marlin using live bunker on a 130. Go figure. Geez, last week, $4.5 million, a record payout in the White Marlin Open. That fish weighed 77.5 pounds. Who knew? I guess the point here is that you just don't know what you're going to find at the end of your line when you're fishing in salt water unless you drop that line in, especially this time of year with those warm water eddies and fingers pushing ashore. Captain Mike Green sent me this pic of a fish he caught the other day on a peanut bunker at Barnegat Ridge. Barrelfish, maybe? I'm not sure. My buddy John didn't know, and I've got an email into New Jersey Fish and Wildlife. I'll get you that confirmation next week, Greenie. But that's what I think John and I were talking about. It looks like a barrelfish. Now, if you're looking to get offshore and you don't have an offshore-ready boat, or perhaps you can't put a full charter together, you're not able to, you have some open boat options now with the head boats running offshore on their tuna trips. I know you got the Miss Barnegat Light, Barnegat Inlet. You've also got the Big Jamaica out of Manasquan. They're making those trips offshore. The Gambler will do that in a little while. And some of those boats out of Belmar are going to make those offshore trips. I think the Skylarker, the Golden Eagle. I know the Big Jamaica, not just some hefty yellowfin on their last trip out, but they also got some pretty impressive looking mahi as well. It's been an unusual tuna season so far. Those of you who are out all the time, you know that. But hopefully the best is still yet to come. Reef balls at Barnegat Reef, a $10,000 surf payout in Atlantic City this week, and the latest beach buggy news out of Brick Township. That's next. But first, let's find out about that late summer variety out at places like Beltsville. My man George, the Pocono Outdoors guy. Take it away, George.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. You know, things are looking beautiful here in the Poconos. Temperatures are in the mid-70s, and things are starting to cool down. You know, we got a couple of weeks till things really kick in high gear for that fall bite. But right now, we need a little bit more of that rain. A couple storms earlier in the week didn't do a whole lot for getting those river levels up where they need to be. But guys are still out there catching fish in those waters. You know, in the Delaware, we had Dan Flores touch base. He says, George, the flathead catfish are on fire, catching them up left and right. He was down in the Frenchtown area with his buddy Abram, and they both got into a couple of really nice flatheads there. Also this time of year, you know, that topwater bite is on fire. My good friend Shane Fry, also known as Uncle Catfish, was on them out there by the Harrisburg area, getting on them for topwater, and he says, George, that bite just keeps getting better and better. Guys, the best is yet to come. Hopefully this water temp comes down a little bit. We get a little bit more rain, but for now, from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
So the big Mid-Atlantic Offshore tournament out of Cape May is not the only big money tournament going on right now in South Jersey, although a multi-million-dollar purse is pretty hard to beat. That said, $10,000 for a one-day surf fishing tournament, well, that's nothing to sneeze at either. NJ SatFest, and that stands for the New Jersey Surf Angler Tournament and Festival, is this weekend in Atlantic City. The big festival itself starts on Saturday, big family event. Then on Sunday, competitors look to snare the longest fish of the contest from shore in Atlantic City with a $10,000 top prize. You can get information over at Absecon Bay Sportsman with Dave Scholl in Absecon, or stop over at One Stop Bait and Tackle in Atlantic City and talk to Noel. The first annual event. You can also go to njsatfest.com for all the details. I have to offer a big thanks to the junior mates of the Beach Haven Charter Fishing Association this week. Last week they had a few more reef balls deployed at the Little Leg Reef site, and they've also done some deployments at the Garden State site. Well, this week Captain John Lewis of Insatiable Charters there at the Beach Haven Charter Fishing Association let me know that reef balls were also being deployed this week at Barnegat Reef. A lot of folks said Barnegat Reef hasn't been touched. It's being touched, and you can thank those young mates in training. The junior mates have made that a part of a huge project. So thank you guys. That's really impressive. If you'd like to learn more about reef building efforts and how you can donate to the enhancement of your favorite local reef site, visit the nonprofit group, thesportfishingfund.org, online for details. Great group of folks there. Thanks, Brian Nunez and the Sport Fishing Fund, for all that you do. Earlier this week, I attended my hometown council meeting again. That was on Tuesday night. The story posted by my good friend Karen Wall in the Brick Patch. The township was originally going to redo their beach buggy rules to end early in spring. Right now you have October through April 30th, but the township, under, they were getting some pushback. They said from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Department of Interior, DEP, didn't really know, but they were getting pressure to end it March 15th. A few friends and I pleaded our case at the July 26th meeting, and on August 23rd, we learned that Brick Township Council and Mayor Ducey agreed with us, the fishermen. I have to thank the New Jersey Beach Buggy Association, Berkeley Striper Club, my friends at the American Sport Fishing Association for sniffing around down in the Beltway around Capitol Hill, and Mayor Ducey himself, who I know is on the phone with Congressman Andy Kim in this district. So thanks to Mayor Ducey, and also thanks to Andy Kim. The final vote on this, what could have been a bad restriction, is going to come up on September 13th, but on Tuesday found out that we did get a stay of execution. One issue I'd stress with you is this. If you're in Sea Isle or Long Beach Island, and you're like, oh, scroll through this. If the tree huggers, for lack of a better term, were able to eliminate 45 days in libertarian-leaning Brick Township, I don't know what would have happened as you further traveled down the Central and South Jersey shore. I think there was a major effort to attack Brick first, because that's the first township, that's the first municipality where we can start beach buggy driving in Ocean County. You won't find that in Monmouth County. So they went with the first, and they were hoping to stretch it down south. They didn't get their way, but I would encourage you, I would urge you, beach buggy activists and your fishing clubs, pay attention to your local beach town ordinances and make sure you don't see a revised beach management plan where it restricts the use of beach buggies during those precious months we're out there. Speaking of which, I said tree huggers, congratulations to Annie Lankila of Helsinki.
As in Helsinki, Sweden.
Finland.
Finland. Anna of Helsinki, Finland. She was at the annual 2022 World Champion Tree Hugger event at an event held in Arctic Finland. Not Sweden, Dick. Arctic Finland. She is the 2022 Tree Hugger World Champ. Congratulations, Ani. I know there were plenty of trees to hug in a rainforest. A good number of fish to catch, too. With our regular Costa Rica fishing report, let's head out to Capos, the central coast, the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, and check in with Jackpots, Ben Gilmore.
Hey there, guys, and welcome to Marina Pez Vela, Costa Rica with this week's fishing report. Right now, we got a great mahi-mahi bite going on. Just 8 to 15 miles from our coastline here in Costa Rica. There's a lot of debris which builds up as a result of the recent rains that we've been having, and the mahi-mahi love to gather under this debris. Some great fishing, lots of fish in the 8 to 15 pound range, and some big bull dorado, 30 pounds and above as well, showing up also. We've had some really nice wahoo over the offshore reefs, plenty of wahoo in the 20 to 30 pound range, and further offshore, typically 30 miles and above, we've had some really nice yellowfin tuna. Only yesterday there was a 130 pound yellowfin tuna caught, and lots of fish in the 20 to 50 pound range. Bill fishing's been good. We got blue marlin plus a few sailfish, and the fishing is really going to get cranking here from November onwards. Would love to see you guys down here in Costa Rica. Back over to you, Matt.
Now, did you know that you do not have to watch my ugly mug every week when we're doing this video fishing forecast? If you're pressed for time, you're tired of looking at my face, you're running to the boat, you can get the audio only version of this. Find this week's audio podcast version of our fishing report by searching for the Fisherman Magazine podcast on iTunes and Google Podcasts, and subscribe to all the great audio content that we've got there. I'm actually getting ready to get a little bit more acclimated to that podcast world. I've got the mics, I've got the mixers, and I want to start doing some interviews, bringing you some more exclusive content from the New Jersey, Delaware Bay region. So hopefully sometime in the next couple of months, we've got the videos, we've got the print articles, we've got the digital weeklies, and pretty soon we're going to have audio as well. I did speak to, I was out interviewing Phil Sorrentino Jr. actually this past Friday for an article that I've got coming out in next week's print edition. We're going to print with September 2022. That is Sunday night. I'll be working with our field editors to compile all the reports throughout the region. So you'll see the September edition, a very special surf guide in September. That will come out actually next week at the end of August. But I got some great audio from Phil Sorrentino about his father. And I was like, man, I really have to start these podcasts. There's some really great stuff, some great history at the Jersey Shore and throughout the Delaware Bay region. I have to start sharing. Congrats to Dean Mancini. That was last week's top fluke aboard the Big Mohawk. I checked in this week with our entries in the Dreamboat Fishing Challenge. Dean is on the board with that big doormat he caught last week. So I don't know if Rob's going to be weighing one in for the Big Mohawk this week, hopefully. But Dean, you're on that board. And good luck with you on that. Dean Paolella, of course, I'm still rooting for you right now. I think you're still in first place, but you got to get out there. Maybe you need to jump on the Big Mohawk. Best bet for this weekend, for sure, the local snags, reefs, wrecks, and such out offshore, inshore, mid-range. All right, big baits, 6-inch gulp grubs, those 6-inch fish bites, fight clubs, those curly tails. Go with those big baits. Those big fluke are getting hungry. They have not been feeding a lot. I would hit the wrecks, reefs, and snags. Expect to lose a few of your favorite bucktails along the way. You gotta sacrifice something for success, but look for them to start feeding heavily now at the end of August. And barring any late season tropical storms we've got, don't forget, with that slot fish that we have at the Jersey Shore this weekend that some folks hate, many folks love, the good point is we have a longer season this year, so you have that benefit. Catch them up, and like I said, don't be surprised at what you're reeling in when you choose to fish deep in the New Jersey, Delaware Bay region.